Spacebird Media.
Walking through the shadows, got my head held high.
I believe in the power that lifts you to the sky.
With every step I'm taking, feel the fire at night. Rocks in and aches, we're ready for the fight. With faith we'll soar, our spirits will break. Together we'll rise for the dreams that we make. Unlimited style, unlimited faith, unlimited love, unlimited grace. Just you can be who you are, and when you are unlimited, you're a star.
Welcome to Roxanne and Ace Unlimited, where I was reminded today, unlimited. What does that mean? It means we can talk about all sorts of great stuff, including Jesus and relationships and trends. Whatever's on our minds, we get to share, and it's a great joy. We've been friends a whole long time. And guess what? We get to talk to one of our old radio buds, Joe Lockett, coming up, who has very successful media presence and podcasts, and he deeply loves the Lord, which is a good thing. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. I love that our sponsors help make it happen. My Brother's Cup and 4C Mortgage. We'll tell you more about that and what it means, as it is our longtime friend, Terren Newell. He's growing, so we're going to get a chance to get into that. But loving the fact this week they finally announced like the Grammys were or they weren't going to happen, and then some have said that they will. And of course, a lot of it has to do with the California fires. Some of the labels have said, we're going to pull out. But even in that, it still heightens people's excitement around the music industry. Like, music is so diverse, and me as a musician, I'm always hanging on the nominations. I'm like, ooh, I haven't heard that album. I need to get that one. Like it's like a laundry list of how to create your playlist. But then especially like for faith-based music, I love that it's a time of year that people can hear about artists that they haven't heard of before.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. The Grammys coming up, and for me, it's always the Oscars. Conan O'Brien, we're huge friends of Conan's going to be the host this year. And finally, in local theaters, Adrian Brody is one of my favorite actors of all time. He's nominated for an Oscar for The Brutalist. It's finally in our theaters locally. It was just a Chicago, New York, and LA kind of thing, but now it's here. Yeah. We can actually go see the brilliance of this man. So a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, it's always great. My buddy and I, so being also a rock and roll head, Led Zeppelin has a documentary that's in IMAX only in, I think, 2 weeks. And we already bought our tickets because we're like, if that's the only way we're going to be able to see it until it streams, and to see it, I mean, an IMAX cinema, as a theater buff, like there's just something about IMAX and the clarity. Like, I got old eyes, right? I got to have my glasses and it's, thicker and thicker with every year. But I feel like that's the one place I can take them off and it's like, whoo, it's in the room. But yeah, so, I mean, I never grow tired of the cinema experience. Like my son and I went to see Goonies a couple of weeks ago, and even as redigitized as that was, and how great that story stood the test of time. There's just something about the popcorn experience and all the things that go and passing that on with my kids. Like I love when my daughters send me pictures of their feet propped up in the recliner, ready for whatever they're about to see. Like, I don't even tell me if it's a good movie or not. But in that, we can live vicariously and pass those traditions on to our kids,
Well, one of the movies I missed was Annie. I don't know how that happened because we love Carol Burnett and she's in the movie. And I had never seen the show. So we saw Annie on Broadway and it was phenomenal. The show is so emotional, so well done with the choreography. But then Wayne was like, we need to fix this error and go home, and you've got to watch Carol Burnett in this role.
She's amazing.
Astounding. So good. I don't know where I was. I was probably reading a book that I
you were
missed
living
all.
life, and it happens. Yeah.
When did you last allow God to fill your heart with joy? Have you thought about that? Yes, he's with us in the storms, and yes, we need to trust him and lean on him. But when do we have pure bliss that is all about God? I read recently that joy is happiness on steroids. I'm never going to forget that because I think it's true. It's that overwhelming feeling. It's beyond contentment. It's that that you're in the best place, and you're so thankful to be in that best place. And I think The Lord's all about it. If you go to Nehemiah, of all places, Nehemiah 8:10, go your way, eat the fat, drink the sweet wine. That's what it says.
Yep.
And send portions of them to those whom nothing is prepared. For this day is holy to our Lord. Do not be grieved, for the joy of the Lord is yours. There's the order. Have fun. Have joy. Celebrate things in life. I think we get really intense. Maybe it's just me. We have a goal, we get there, and then it's like, okay, I'm here. What's the next thing? Instead of pausing and say, I am in this moment and I'm feeling joy.
Well, and joy is also something we can control, right? I mean, happiness is happenstance. And so when you choose to serve a God that has got everything figured out, he's just revealing it to us when we're ready to receive it, right? And his timing is perfect. But I love that when things break down or things are stressful or, whatever it is that's happening that is a inconvenience, it's only messing with my happenstance. If it costs me my joy or it robs me of my peace, it's too expensive. And I would rather just relinquish that to God because most of the time it's out of my control anyway. So why would I allow myself, I don't want to be that humdrum guy. I don't know how this is going to work out. Or when something does come through and people go, man, how did that happen? I go, it's a total God thing because I had no way to orchestrate what happened. And then you tell them all the puzzle pieces that came together, and then they can see God work through your life that then can hopefully give them hope for what they're facing, and they can find joy.
Well, I give you great credit for that. I've watched you go through some pretty intense things, and you stay really calm. I can get all wound up, okay? I
have my moments.
Wound up.
Yeah.
But that they say the greatest leaders are those that they see the emergency. They can oversee how rough things really are, and yet they remain calm in the storm. Jesus sleeping in the middle of this massive storm. I mean, think about that.
Yeah.
And yet, why do we get so worked up? You're right. We get worked up about things we can't control, and that makes zero sense. All right. Another thing I thought, oh, here we go again. Dating. It's so hard. Joe Lockett, maybe he'll address this. Ghosting, breadcrumbing, love bombing. We've talked about them all. Now there's GuardRailing. I'm like, come on.
Sounds violent.
It does. But really what it is, it's putting up boundaries. And you don't want to do that date one. You don't want to be like, well, I have a certain distaste for this when you say that. It's date one. Let's chillax a little bit.
Yeah.
But you do need to get to the point where if you're really opposed in a number of key areas, just dating to be dating, I don't know. I guess a lot of people do that now. I was always like dating to get married.
Sure.
So when you figure out you're diabolically opposed, like say one person wants children, the other doesn't. Well, if you're going to proceed, you're going to need a plan. And so having boundaries and expressing them is GuardRailing, and it's important. What do you think?
I don't know that I've ever guardrailed anyone. Maybe I have, and obviously didn't know that was a thing, but I will say I guardrail to other people. Like I'm very protective of my time, energy, and, trying to put my energy into the things that I need to do for the day. And if it's one of those where it's like a 5 to, 10 p kind of, or midnight kind of a day, I have to be able to, like the other days of the week, I have to be able to guard myself so that I have the strength for those longer runs. Otherwise, Tawny and the kids aren't getting my best, or God's not getting my best. And I don't, and life, I was actually talking with a friend of mine about this today. The life-work balance is what we always are struggling with, but we, again, are in control of what we allow people in boundaries or lack thereof to then rob us of the energy so that then we don't have it to give in the areas that God has been calling us to. God, I can't go do that because I just got, this happened. And so I'm very... To quote the whole men are like waffles, we are, because I compartmentalize my energy for when I need those bursts on days that I know are going to be a little more grueling than others, or just to say, hey, tonight's going to be a chill night so I can give my 8 or 9 hour workday all I've got. And then that way, when I come home, I can completely unplug and be with my family or spend time with God or whatever I want to do.
Well, this is the perfect segue into the next thing we're going to talk about, friendships and how they can make or break your future.
Yeah.
You always hear that about, we guard our teenagers. Who are they running with? What is their crowd? And there's a lot of research into a young person who is influenced by somebody who says, try this, it's really cool. Or why don't we get money by doing that? And it's a choice you need to make. We want acceptance as human beings. We long for it. When we don't get it, we'll look for it elsewhere. It's like one of the main components of a gang. When a young person isn't getting what they need at home, then they look for that support in a place that may not be beneficial to them. Sure. So we need to realize our friendships influence the way we think, and that goes way into adulthood. And I've done a lot of sifting myself, Ace, and I'm investing in the friendships that have great value to me, that lift me up, that encourage me. Without Liz and Sandy, two of my buddies, I would not be here with you doing this podcast. Right. They told me, we miss your insight in the morning from the radio. And I was like, I think I'm done with that part of my life. And they were like, no, think about it. So our friends really do influence us.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and even in watching our kids, because, my older daughters, they were always like, I have my bestie and I'm good. And that's pretty much even to this day how they are. They have their relationships with their boyfriends and fiance, whatever there are in their lives. And then they have their bestie. And then I have Ryan and Mia who have like their group of friends, and like to watch them all interact with each other, I need a nap. Like just in watching them all keep up with each other. And I love it. But it's knowing your personality of what you need around you, but then also knowing what you can actually invest. And like I've had conversations with my girls about that. I'm like, you guys were always just the one best friend. Is that the way you like it? They're like, yeah, like to have more than, like, it's one thing, like you have more friends, but you have the one that you can rely on and trust and is always going to be there. And so I'm very thankful, that God has shaped their minds and hearts in that way, because I think we can learn a lot from that.
Our great friend, Turan Newell, we've learned a lot from him. We're both in our homes because of this great man of God who is so wise, and big changes are happening.
Yeah, so Birmingham Mortgage Group, which you've heard about if you've listened to this show for even a minute prior to this week, but now they are 4C Mortgage. So 4cmortgage.com. You can still reach them at 205-259-1656. But if you're looking to get into that dream home, you're looking to build, you're looking to expand your family's territory, Turin can help make sure you're pre-approved and taken care of. And I love because the 4C is for Christ Mortgage. So from the beginning that Turin and the heart of he and his staff, it is all built on the foundation of what Christ has for them to help you and your family. So that's why they've been a great partner with us and been great friends to us, on not just on the radio, but off the radio. And it just continues to loving their expansion. Alabama and Florida, they're trying to reach into Tennessee. So that could be coming. So a lot of big things happening for Turin and the team at 4C Mortgage. We have to retrain our verbiage after years of another name. But 4cmortgage.com as you get set for your family for the new year.
I love that. So the least and most religious presidents, to me, this is fascinating. We could spend a lot of time on it. Most of our presidents have been Protestant, 25% Catholic. Of course, there are some Quakers in there. There's one believed atheist among the group. And so if you ask most people who was the most religious president, many people say Jimmy Carter. However, Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden were regular church attenders while they were president. And that's not an easy thing to do. So I think that's worthy of mentioning. John Adams referred to himself, and this is wild, going all the way back to John Adams, as a church-going animal. He said title. He couldn't do anything without the Lord. And it's just, if you look over this, because he was a Quaker, Herbert Hoover had to affirm the oath of office because they can't swear to an oath when you're a Quaker. So it's very interesting if you look back and comb through the history of our presidents and what their faith level was like.
Yeah, I always loved, like, whenever there was a president that would make a reference to a Bible verse, but wouldn't say where the Bible, like, they would just quote it like it was just a part of their verbiage, right? Or it was written into their speech, because it let us know, especially if you were a fellow believer, you knew where their heart was. It's like, okay, this is a very important decision they're making for our nation, but it sounds like they're making it from a biblical and prayerful mindset. So that gives you some peace. So it's like the code, right? It's, getting that, it's like Ralphie, deciphering the little orphan Annie. It's like, be sure to drink your Ovaltine. I know what that means.
Well, and some presidents like us have made some changes along the way. There's Ronald Reagan. I like Ronald Reagan, so we have to mention Ronald Reagan. His dad was Roman Catholic. His mother was Disciples of Christ. He was baptized and raised with both traditions. That couldn't have been easy. But in his 50s, he became a Presbyterian. So you know what? You just don't know, do you?
That's right. It's always good. And it's a reminder to pray for our president, no matter what, because we can agree to disagree on probably most of the things that they have to decide on. But at least that if your prayer, president may not know who you are, but you clearly know who he is, and you have to pray for he and first lady and, all the cabinet members, because they're making choices that affect all of us.
Well, and the vitriol right now, I will admit to some anxiety after going on Facebook and seeing intelligent adults ripping each other apart. Ripping each other. This is both sides. And I thought, maybe I'm done with Facebook. I'll just laugh at cats and French bulldogs on TikTok. I can't take this. Yeah. It's ugly. There has to be a point where Ace, have to put ourselves in check? Yeah. I mean, and both sides.
And again, most of the times, like 99.9% of the time, we are not in a place that we can do anything about whatever it is that we find a grievance against. Mm-hmm. But again, and this goes whether it's the president or your pastor or priest or anyone that's in areas of leadership, trusting that God has appointed them into that role of leadership for his plan, not the agenda of the person in charge, but for what God is doing and orchestrating. So regardless of, the condition of the heart of the president going into office or what they do that's them focused versus God focused, we're not here to judge. We can be mad about it, but it's like, God, if this is, your plan of you need this to unfold so that your greater good is seen and felt, then okay. Because again, that's how I can sleep at night. Otherwise, I'm like you. I would see all the riling tempos of everyone else and be right in the thick of that for all the same reasons. But that's exhausting to me. And I'd rather trust God in who is in the Oval Office. And it's not based on a man to fix our problems. It's based on our holy God that's going to fix our problems.
I agree 100%. Well, both you and I are Cher fans.
Oh, yeah.
That's one thing I regret. She was here in our area one time in concert, and I had a conflict and couldn't see her. Yeah. I've never seen her in concert. But her book is just absolutely fascinating. Apparently, when she was a little baby, her mother was so financially couldn't handle it. Put Cher in an orphanage. I've learned so much as a little baby, and gave the orphanage a little bit of money as she was waitressing, and then got her out of the orphanage. Wow. It's just, and here she meets Sonny when she's 16 years old. He's 27, and he made her an employee. Yeah. Idea.
Yeah, I don't know all of their stories, but in hearing, especially in the fact later after they were divorced, like how she still affectionately referred to Sonny because she still loved him from a perspective that he got her out of certain situations that, she didn't know home. She didn't know family. She didn't know normalcy. And what I love too, in true Cher fashion, this book is just one of like a series, because she's like, I got so many stories to tell. I can't put it all in one book and leave certain stories out. She's like, I got some doozies. So I'm like, all right, I'm in for it. Like normally when it comes to celebrities, it's the whole, I don't necessarily need to know everything about them because I like the mystique of Hollywood or, whatever dark places I can't see. But I don't know. There's just something about Cher that she's a national treasure in my heart.
Well, she discusses her children, and that's, topic for a whole nother book, and she got permission to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But one of the things I really love about her, she still works with her voice teacher, who is 96 years old.
Wow.
How sweet is that?
Well, and do you also realize that a big part of like all the auto tuning and whatnot that happens in music today, Cher is the one who made it what it is. Like using it to the advantage of, hey, this is a cool effect on your voice, but I'm still singing. And then now there are some who just use it to pull it off like it is them with, I'm flawless, But I mean, Cher's flawless on so many other, I think I saw a meme this was before the days of meme. It would have probably been in a newspaper, kids. Google that and you'll find it out. But it was a cartoon in like a Sunday paper that said, when the apocalypse happens, there's only going to be cockroaches and Cher. And so I thought, there's probably some truth to that.
There is. And as we close this show, we've got to talk about food. According to a survey of 2,000 U.S. adults, more than half of us say they love food more than anything.
I totally agree with that. Now, I don't love them more than people. I mean, that don't get me wrong, but I am a true foodie. I mean, I have to keep in check. Like so as a little boy, my great grandmother used to make me homemade fried apple pies. And I found that down the street, there is a new homemade apple pie place. Well, they do more than just apple pies, but apple's on there, of course. So, of course, once I found out about them, so somebody had posted about it. I was like, ooh, that's all I could think about. Because it's the power of suggestion. I've said this on the show before. I can't watch the Food Network because whatever they're making, I want to go in the kitchen and make. Or whatever, they're showing me, like, we're going to teach you how to make Snicker bars. Yeah, and that's all I want for days. And so, the power of suggestion there. And even Tawny and I will, like, that's our go-to of, hey, let's go on a date. Let's go somewhere nice. Let's have a really good meal that's prepared by hands that I couldn't try to even replicate if I thought I even could pretend to have the same ingredients. But I can get there. Like, food just tastes good.
Well, and we like to be adventurous. So this last weekend, we tried fish collar. It is what you think it is. It's their like neck area.
Okay.
And as if a fish had a neck. But anyway, it was so good. It was just a lot of wonderful, crunchy fish parts.
Yeah.
And it was delicious. But we like to take the weirdest thing on the menu and figure out what it is and try it. And it was great.
Well, and you know this from being on TikTok, in a world of life hacks and food hacks, like people are meshing stuff together and you're like, why didn't we think of this as kids? Like a grilled cheese with pizza topping. And I'm like, what? Like your mind just blew a vessel, and then I need to eat that thing to heal it, so it's, now I'm hungry.
Imagine starting your day with a coffee that changes lives. Say hello to Roxanne Blend. With creamy malty aromas and hints of caramel, pecan, and butterscotch, Roxanne Blend is crafted from the finest Arabica and Robusta beans. Perfect for espresso or your favorite cup in the morning. At My Brother's Cup, every purchase supports medical and humanitarian missions, helping victims of trafficking. Enjoy quality, care, and a cause you can believe in. Visit mybrotherscup.com and make a difference with every sip. Roxanne Blend. Great coffee, greater good.
Roxanne and Ace Unlimited, where we are blessed with the best guests, including friends that go way back. Our next guest is an award-winning radio broadcaster. He's been on MSNBC. He's been on the Steve Harvey Morning Show. But listen, this guy has some fabulous podcasts you're going to have to check out. The Joe Lockett Show, Coffee with Joe, and he primarily focuses on relationships. And some of the stuff that comes out of his shows is hilarious. Mm-hmm. He's got a huge TikTok following. We welcome to the show our great friend, Joe Lockett. Hi, Joe.
Hola, how you everybody doing? ¿Cómo está? Minasan Genki, how you doing?
Yeah, man. Good to
Ace and
see you.
Roxanne, thank you for having me on your show today.
Yeah, bud. So tell us, as we head into the new year, what has God been saying to you? Like, what is the challenge that you feel that either is a part of your own ministry or just within your own walk with Him?
To be honest, man, and I have to give all thanks to him. I am so blessed to be in the place where I am for everything that I've been through, from divorce through life challenges. In the last few years, I lost everything and I had to start all over again. Um, so God, I think He is saying to me now, Ace and Roxanne, and to your audience, is don't mess this up. I've poured into you now. You stayed strong. You believed in me, and now I'm giving you this everything I gave you before. He's giving it to me again. But now that I've received it, I want to give more of it to people than try to use it for my own. So now my ask to God, my prayer every single day is to give me where my cup runneth over, so I can give more to people and just keep a small percentage for myself.
Joe, your emphasis on a lot of your shows is relationships, the mistakes we made. What are some of the things you've been through? That's part one. And part two is, what have you learned that you're able to impart on your shows?
I would say the one thing that I had learned was to listen more in a relationship as a man. I'm very egotistical, hard-headed, and stubborn when I'm stuck in my ways about certain things. And I didn't have empathy and emotions in my prior marriage. I was a good husband, but I was a horrible husband at the same time. I was a hard worker on what I felt I needed to work hard on, but the things she needed me to work hard on, I was not there. I had abandoned her in those things. And that was a cause to the demise of a relationship. And so a lot of men fall in that trap. We think we're doing the work, but we're not doing the work. We're doing the work of what society tells us to do, but we're not doing the work of what our wife is asking us to do. We take that for granted. Women want the outside. They do want you to provide and protect. But there's an E that we were not taught. And you don't learn this until later on. Some men never learn it. It's called emotions, right? You have to be emotional and show empathy to your mate when she asks you to. But we're so ingrained in ourselves and what we have to do for her and for the family. We do not bring, or we close off that emotion to do what we do. But we have to be and I have to be better. Men that's listening to the show today, to the Ace and Roxanne show, I think they should, we have to be better as men to be able to articulate to our wives what we need. What do you need from us, and how can I do it, and help me be better at it? Because we were not taught to be emotional. I was not taught to be empathetic, right? I was taught to protect and provide. And so when I get a woman that needs me to be emotional and be affectionate towards her, that's foreign to me. So I can only do it for a short period of time because I feel weak. I feel icky. It's just I don't feel like hugging up on you and being all cutting and emotional because I feel like I'm not being a man, right? I need you to do that to me, but I don't know how to really give that to a woman for a long period of time. I know it's a long answer, but yeah, that's one of the most important things that I did learn then.
Well, and I'm sure Roxanne could speak into this. I think most women want men to be emotional. But we as men, we think that shows a softer side that makes us less of a man.
What do you think about that, Joe?
Yes, I agree with him 100%. You married me because I was strong. You married me because I was this arrogant, bold, guy. You never asked me. You never asked me to be emotional, show empathy with you until that moment happened. You expected me to automatically be that person, but you didn't know how to articulate to me that's what you wanted, and I didn't know how to tell you that I'm not built like that, baby. That's not me, who I am. And so we run into a problem, and it causes a problem because you're never able to have the conversation because of egos on both sides.
Yeah,
and sometimes and a lot of times I think it causes a problem.
Well, and when you're married a long time and you get back into the dating world, What are some of the changes that you've seen with that experience?
I'm not ready to be married again. I do know, did realize that. Because I think once I got the divorce, which was the best thing for both of us, I realized who I was. And now I'm really, really selfish about my time and my bottom line, right? And so this is just me being honest to your audience. I'm not about to give up 100% of what I have and earned and got back by myself to a woman that can take 50% from me if she wants to. So my thinking pattern now is that she has to have what I have, or we can't even start to talk.
Wow.
You know, you have to be ready to sign a prenup because I'm too old to be starting over, and I'm not giving you 50%. I'm not giving you half. You're not coming. You know what I'm saying? Because I wanted to work. But I know what the other side of that looks like, and a man always, most times, takes the hit. So we come into the marriage with what we come with, but we have to leave with what we have to be able to leave with. So whatever you have, if you don't have a house and a car and a 401k, it's not because I want it, but you need that for yourself, right? So because these are the things that I have. So if she don't even have that, that's a non-starter for me. When I was broke, Roxanne and Ace, women called me a project, right? They said they didn't need a man that was a project. You know, he was building his career and doing things back together, right? Well, it has flipped now, Roxanne. It has flipped now, Ace. I don't want a woman that's a project. Yeah, I'm gonna provide and protect for you, but I need a woman who was doing that before she met me, so we can build together. But I'm not going to be 54 years old trying to help you take care of the mistakes that you made prior to, and now I'm gonna come in and clean up your debt for you. May sound rude, but I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Well, and I know as someone who went from the married world to the single world more times than I'd like to admit, but it's truth. It's one of those where I had to be good with me and God before I was ever in a place that I could even welcome the idea of not only a woman in my life, but a healthy family, a healthy marriage, because I needed to be setting tones for myself, right? Because it's not even a monetary thing. It's a matter of I'm good with just me and God because I need to be the best man that he's calling me to be. And in that, if he wants me to share that with someone else, he will be the one to open that door when you're ready.
I agree with that. The person that was there with me through the whole time was God. And I agree with you 100% with that, Ace. But I think faith without works is dead. You know, so I do believe that, you know, even though I know God was the biggest piece of that, when it came down to the woman and women, when I was dating, and maybe I don't know if this happened to you, right? They would want to do things that financially I wasn't able to do. And because I wasn't able to do certain things with them or go to dinners or go on dates or whatever they want to do, events, you were looked at a certain way. You know what I mean? And because of your age. And women don't take pity on a man that does not have his stuff together, which is totally understandable. Right. And I think now, you know, being 54, I put God first, but I also make sure women understand that what we're doing. I'm gonna say this: I tell her what I'm looking for. Just like a woman can put out her resume or what she's looking for, I also put out what I'm looking for. And some things are a non-starter now.
And I think that's good. I think boundaries are super healthy, and I think knowing what you want and sticking to that is a really good plan. I want to veer just for a moment into your career. You've been able to do some really exciting things, and now you're driving the bus with your own programs. What is it about this media world, Joe, that is so attractive to you? What do you love about it so much?
People like you, people like Ace, people who listen to our shows. We're able to communicate and articulate ourselves over a vast a vast number of platforms nowadays. You know, we started out in radio. We've been on TV, did TV shows. We've went through magazines and things of that nature. But I don't know how to do anything else. You know what I mean? I'm good at a lot of things, but I love doing this. So I will always be in media in some form because the things that I've learned, I'm able to articulate and tell people about it. And I'm also able to listen to people and hear what they say. And then also be able to tell them maybe my opinion. which may not always be popular, which is fine. But it's a fun thing to be able to talk back to people about. So just being able to leave a legacy and open the doors for people that never thought that they could reach other people's lives with their story. Radio did that for me. Working with you and Ace in the radio days, being on that radio station, I reach hundreds of thousands of people over a 10-year period. And, that feeling never goes away. If someone hears your voice, they may not recognize your face, but they hear you talking like, you sound like this guy named Joe Lockett. You don't get that feeling from any place else. Now, Roxanne, you walk in a place, people are like, oh, that's Roxanne. She got the face, right?
True.
But Joe Lockett,
I've watched it happen.
I got the voice, right? You can't go nowhere with, even with Roxanne. That's Roxanne. Her voice, but her face is all over the place. Yeah. But and Ace and I, we just have to rely on not our good looks, but our voice. So
that's right. Well, they say video killed the radio star, right?
Exactly, Ace.
Oh, come on.
so Joe, tell us, as of course with your shows, tell us how people can find you so they can listen to you each week.
Sure. What I tell anybody, this is one of my pickup lines. If people say, "What's your name?" I say, "Google me." Right. So find me on anything Joe Lockett, Lockett, Joe Lockett Show. We have rebranded ourselves to be LIM on social media. That's the Lockett In Media Network, where you see all our shows on our channels. But, if you're looking for it and LIM does not pop up, because that's something we're doing recently, go Joe Lockett Show, and I will pop up on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and all those different channels.
Vibes. Yeah.
All right, each week it's always a lot of fun to catch up on our vibes. So, Roxanne, what's in your wheelhouse?
I know you're shocked. It's yet another book. It's called You Can't Give What You Don't Have. It's by Greg Heiberg, who graduated from West Point, was a major career consultant for big companies, and realized he was miserable. Married, great children, had everything, and suffered from a real depression because, well, he wasn't taking care of himself. He didn't know what his priorities were, wasn't involved with church on a regular basis. And he went about the subtitle is Creating the 7 Habits That Make for a Remarkable Life. And he thoroughly researched and interviewed anybody who would know. And here's one of the conclusions. Great relationships keep us happier and healthier. And it's the quality of our close relationships that matter most. Not fame, he's had it. Not wealth, he's had it. Not education, he's had it. Or high achievements. And this is backed by research. And it's really important that we're able, in this busy life that we have, to shift and to focus on the ones we love. And sometimes when we haven't seen anybody for a really long time, like I hadn't seen you in person for a long time. And when I saw you that day downtown with your beautiful wife, Tawny, and I came unglued and I realized having you close to me is a forever thing of great importance. When I don't have that, I'm missing a major component of my life. And so relationships, that's where it's at.
Agreed. Well, my vibe, of course, no surprise. It's a vinyl collection. I'm a huge blues music fan. And so one of my favorite artists is Larkin Poe, and their brand new album, Bloom, just came out. And what I love is not just the every song is... So the name is actually their great or great grandfather's name that they thought this is a part, and like his lineage into their DNA is why they chose it as their band name. So there's no like other hidden meaning. They're just out and out. We're using this as our band name, and they won a Grammy for Blood Harmony, which was the previous album from a couple years ago. So this is a brand new, all new songs, and they recently were also on Ringo's country album, which went #1. So they were collaborating with Ringo, so they have Beatle connection. So of course I'm loving them. And check out this vinyl. Like, look how beautiful this record is. I mean, it's amazing. So
that's gorgeous.
Every song, there's even a song on here, If God Was a Woman, and it's not like making fun of God, or it's just in your viewpoint. they're saying, I'll pray for you. Like if this is where your viewpoint is on God or religion, or you're hurting so much, I'll pray for you. So again, not to over spiritualize something and interpret a band. I know what they mean to me. If you're looking for cool music that also can challenge you, it's always a good thing. So check that out, Larkin Poe Bloom. Of course, we want to say thanks to Joe Lockett for joining us, and of course to 4C Mortgage, as we would not be here without them. My Brother's Cup for making this week another reality. Have a great weekend. Roxanne, I love you.
Love you.
You've been listening to Roxanne and Ace Unlimited. To make sure you don't miss future shows, you can subscribe anywhere you like to podcast and catch up on anything you've missed. Find out more at RoxanneandAce.com. Roxanne and Ace Unlimited is a production of Spacebird Media.